Hello everyone, welcome back. I am Dipayan Ghosh and we are continuing our Dharakaraka series so far. We have covered Sun as Dharakaraka, Mercury as Dharakaraka, Moon as Dharakaraka, and today we are moving into a placement that I know a lot of you have been waiting for, Venus as Dharakaraka. Now this one is particularly interesting because Venus is already the universal significator of the spouse for everyone in traditional astrology. So, when Venus specifically becomes your personal Dharakaraka, this placement carries an extra layer of intensity and significance. Now, let me explain everything about it in this complete detail today. I'm going to cover the core archetype, the physical appearance in real depth, all 12th placement, how the sign element changes the physical makers, and the Navamsha analysis. Okay, and the difference between this and your seventh lord, a complete step-by-step method for analyzing your own chart and the specific things to watch out for. Okay, now let's get into it. For anyone here, let me explain quickly that so for anyone new here, let me explain quickly that in Jaimini Astrology, we rank the 7 classical planets by the degrees they hold within their own sign. The planet at the highest degree becomes your Atmakaraka, your soul's core identity, and the planet at the lowest degree becomes your Dharakaraka, the significator of your spouse. The philosophy here is very beautiful. The lowest degree planet represents an energy that your soul has not yet fully mastered or integrated. So the universe sends you a partner who literally embodies that specific energy, forcing genuine growth through the mirror of the relationship itself. And today we are exploring what it means when that lowest degree planet, your Dharakaraka, is Venus. Now, when Venus is your Dharakaraka, your life partner is one where harmony, sensory, beauty, and diplomatic balance gets activated specifically through your spouse. I like to describe this placement as one word: Muse. Your partner is strategically drawn into your life to act as a muse, someone who refines your social presence and elevates your aesthetic sensibility simply by being close to you. This is one of the most classically beautiful Dharakaraka placement that exists because Venus itself governs love, beauty, art, and refined pleasure. When this becomes your specific spouse significator, the marriage carries a natural current of romance and aesthetic appreciation running through it. Alright, now let me give you the complete physical profile because Venus Dharakaraka is genuinely one of the most detailed and most reliable placement for predicting appearance. In terms of body type, this spouse tends to be very well proportioned, symmetrical, and carries themselves with genuine grace in how they move. There is an effortless elegance to their physical presence. Their facial feature tends to show high symmetry, clear, well shaped eyes, full lips, smooth, clear skin. These are classical makers of what astrology considers Venusian beauty. Their complexion tends to run from fair to medium, but the key word here is not the exact shade, it is the quality of luster. There is a bright, glowing quality to their skin that people notice and are drawn to, and their overall aura is socially warm, charming, and genuinely conscious of aesthetic presentation. This is someone who cares about how things look, how they represent themselves, and how the environment around them feels and appears. Now I do want to mention the shadow side honestly because every placement has one. The shadow traits of Venus Dharakaraka's spouse can include a tendency towards hedonism, a certain superficiality, or a fixation specifically on social status and outward appearances rather than deeper substance. Alright, now here is something genuinely important that most people overlook. The visibility and the intensity of this Venusian beauty depends entirely on the dignity, meaning the strength of Venus in your chart. If your Venus is exalted, which happens in Pisces, or sitting in its own sign, which is Taurus or Libra, the attractiveness style becomes what I would call a splendid, striking, and most morally refined. This produces a truly memorable appearance. This kind of beauty that people generally remember after meeting your spouse, even briefly. If your Venus is in a moderate or friendly sign, the attractiveness style shows up as a refined grooming, a pleasant smile, and a graceful movement. There is a visible charm and social ease through, perhaps not as striking as or unforgettable as exalted placement. If your Venus is debilitated, which means which happens in Virgo or afflicted by difficult planetary influences, the attractiveness becomes more about aesthetic sensitivity. The spouse may need to, overcome some adversity to find and express their beauty and their attractiveness. And their attractiveness might not be described as unconventional rather than classical. This does not mean they are not beautiful, it means their beauty requires a bit more context or effort to fully appreciate. And it often comes through in unexpected ways. Alright. Now let's talk about let's talk about the deeper spiritual assignment behind this placement, because this is genuinely the heart of what Venus as Dharakaraka is teaching you. The specific evolutionary mission for someone with Venus Dharakaraka is moving beyond a fixation on physical form to find the actual spiritual depth within intimacy. Let me explain what this means practically. Because Venus governs beauty and sensory pleasure, there can be a temptation in this kind of marriage to stay on the surface, to value the relationship primarily for how it looks, how it feels aesthetically, how pleasurable and harmonious it appears from the outside. But your soul's actual lesson here is to go deeper. Your spouse becomes a mirror teaching you that true beauty is not found merely in physical attraction or surface harmony. It is found in the balance and the shared purpose that the two of you build together over time. The relationship asks you to discover that, that genuine intimacy, the kind of lasts the kind that lasts and deepens with age, comes from something more sustainable than what first drew you together. All right, now let's go through every house placement in details, because this tells you where you meet your spouse and what central theme defines a marriage. Okay, now first house, your spouse mirrors your own identity directly. All right, these placements activate immediate physical chemistry between you. Your partners provide a direct catalyst for your own self branding and confidence in this world. Second house, you tend to meet your family through networks, the food industry, or banking related context. Your partnership focuses on luxury, family lineage, and creating a stable financial foundation together. Third house, you tends to meet through communication platforms, local neighborhood context, or short trips. This bond is romantically communicative and it genuinely stimulates your creative and expressive voice. Fourth house, the meeting tends to involve ancestral property or domestic environments. This placement activates your entire domestic life. Your partner brings refined comfort and status directly onto your private home life. Fifth house, you tend to meet in creative, educational, or entertainment settings. This is a highly romantic love marriage where the relationship enters centers on pure joy, creative projects together, and the refinement of your family lineage through children. Sixth house, you tend you tend to meet in workplace or service and wellness environments. I call this partnership of service. Your spouse uses their, you know, natural social grace to navigate conflict and health routines, actually improving your daily efficiency and functioning. Seventh house. This is what I consider the highest expression of relational harmony for this particular Dharakaraka. Your partner is publicly attractive and deeply relationship oriented. This placement puts the partnership at the absolute center of your entire social existence. Eighth house. You tend to meet during a period of profound transformation or life crisis. This creates a magnetic, quietly sensual bond. Okay, this kind of uh, this kind of connection genuinely destroys your old ego and births a completely new version of yourself through the depth of shared intimacy. Ninth house. You tend to meet through higher education, long distance travel, or cultural immersion experiences. Your partner brings what I call a aesthetic philosophy into your life. They act almost as a mentor who expands your cultural and spiritual horizons significantly. 10th house. You tend to meet in professional settings or high status environments. Your spouse is, professionally prominent, and the marriage itself provides a real social visibility and professional elevation for you. 11th house. Your partner tends to arrive through large social networks or artistic community. Okay, they act as a catalyst for both financial and social expansion, connecting you to genuinely elite networks you might not have accessed otherwise. Okay. 12th house. You tend to meet in foreign lands, spiritual retreats, or or increasingly through the internet. This creates a private and quietly sensual bond. Your partner brings a quality of retreat and spiritual nourishment into your life, often existing away from a public gaze. Okay. Now let's add another layer of precision. The specific elements that your Venus Dharakaraka sign belongs to give you is very specific physical markers. If your Venus is in a fire sign, meaning Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, your spouse tends to have a warm or golden toned skin and an active, energetic way of carrying themselves. Specifically, if it's in Leo, look for men like voluminous hair. Okay, if it is Aries, look for sharp features, particularly a distinctive brow. Okay, if your Venus is in earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, your spouse tends to be sturdy, well built, and structured in their physical presence. Okay, specifically if it's in Taurus, look for a strong neck and naturally sensual lips. If it's in Virgo, look for clean and precise facial lines. Okay, if your Venus is in air sign, meaning Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, your spouse tends to be youthful, slim, and naturally communicative in their body language. Specifically, if it's in Gemini, look for lively, quick moving eyes. If it's in Libra, look for genuinely perfect facial symmetry. If it's in, which makes sense since Libra is Venus's moon sign. Okay, and if your Venus is in like in water sign, meaning Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, your spouse tends to be have a luminous skin and soft features. Specifically, if it's in Scorpio, look for penetrating magnetic eyes that are hard to look away from. If it's in Pisces, look for a soft or dreamy quality to their overall outline and presence. All right. Now here is where things get genuinely deep. Your main birth chart, the D1, shows what I call the karmic archetype, the type of beauty and presence your spouse projects outwardly. But your Navamsha, okay, the D9, reveals what I call a lived experiences, who your spouse actually becomes once the honeymoon phase settles and daily life takes over. Let me give you a specific example to make this clear. If your Venus Dharakaraka sits in a Mercury ruled sign in your Navamsha, meaning Gemini or Virgo, this suggests that your spouse, regardless of how beautiful or charming they appear outwardly, is secretly an analytical intellectual, a skilled negotiator, or someone drawn to IT or technical work underneath that appealing exterior. If your Venus Dharakaraka is exalted specifically in the D9 chart, this indicates that your partner brings genuine moral refinement to the relationship over time. But if it's debilitated in the D9, they may carry real deep wounds. Okay, through this same placement offers the gift of learning to overcome adversity together as a couple. Always check both charts. The D1, you who are attracted to, and the D9 tells you who you are actually going to marry to for this rest of your life. Okay, I want to clear up some genuine confusion here, because many people get these two techniques mixed up or think they should always match up. Your seventh house lord from partiary system governs the structure of your marriage, how the marriage actually functions day to day, its legal circumstances, the practical experiences of being married to this person. Your Dharakaraka from the Jaimini system represents your spouse's actual soul, their essential nature, their core personality and physical temperament as an individual human being. Think of it like this way: if someone asks you who is this person, your Dharakaraka answers with their essential soul temperament. But if someone asks you how does this marriage actually operates day to day, your seventh lord answers that questions instead. These two techniques describe different layers of the same reality. They are not meant to compete with each other or to be treated as, contradictory if they seem to point in different directions. A skilled Jyotishi, synthesizes both together for a complete picture. Okay. Now let me give you the full technical protocol so you can properly analyze your Venus Dharakaraka placement or have a professional walk you through it with a real precision. Step 1 is identification. Confirm that Venus is genuinely holds the lowest degree among the 7 planets in your birth chart. Step 2 is establishing the base archetype. Apply the core Venusian traits we discussed: symmetry, grace, charm, aesthetic sensitivity, and etc. Step 3 is sign modification. Adjust these traits based on which sign your Venus sits in and its specific elements using the physical markers I gave you earlier. Step 4 is house placement analysis. Identify which of the 12th house your Venus Dharakaraka sits in to understand where you meet your spouse and what life themes get activated through this union. Okay. Step 5 is Navamsha verification. If your Venus Dharakaraka placement is in your D9 chart, specifically to understand your spouse's true hidden profession and their deeper psychological nature beneath the surface. Step 6 is conjunction blending. Check whether any other planet sits conjunct your Venus Dharakaraka or not, because this mixes the signature significantly. For example, Saturn conjunct Venus, Saturn conjunct Venus adds seriousness and a sense of maturity or even apparent age to the beauty. Rahu conjunct Venus adds a magnetic, almost obsessive quality to the attraction. Step 7 is Upapada Lagna cross check. The Upapada Lagna shows the social representation of the marriage. If your Upapada Lagna sign falls into Dusthana house, meaning 6th, 8th, or 12th from your actual Lagna house, your marriage's social representation may face a real hurdles, even if your Venus Dharakaraka itself is very strong. And step 8 is your Atmakaraka Dharakaraka synthesis. Check whether your Atmakaraka and your Venus Dharakaraka are conjunct or aspecting each other through Rashi Drishti, uh, which is sign based aspect in Jaimini Astrology. If they are, this creates what is called a yoga or equals. This is a genuinely powerful catalyst where your entire life trajectory becomes a fundamentally propelled towards self actualization, specifically through your interaction with with this partner. This is one of the most significant configurations you can find in the chart, and it deserves a real attention if it applies to you. Now, I want to correct a mistake I see very often, even among people who study astrology seriously. The mistake is assuming that Venus Dharakaraka always automatically means a perfect fairy tale marriage. Okay, this is simply not true, and I think it does it does a disservice to people who promise this without nonce. For example, if your Venus Dharakaraka is conjunct Saturn, this actually indicates what I call a duty marriage, a relationship based on genuine obligation and deep loyalty rather than constant fiery romance. Okay, this can still be a wonderful lasting marriage, but if the flavor is different from what people typically imagine when they hear Venus is involved. Similarly, if your Venus Dharakaraka is conjunct Rahu, this indicates something called avidya maya, which means illusion. In this case, there is a real risk that you may fall for a projection of who you want your partner to be, rather than just seeing and connecting with their true authentic soul. This particular combination asks for extra conscious awareness and honest self reflection within the relationship. The real teaching of Jyotish here is the placements describe your soul assignment, but the actual quality of your bond, the happiness, the depth, the growth you experience together depends on entirely on how consciously you navigate these technical indicators in your life, in your real daily life. Right? Now let me close with a deeper meaning of this beautiful placement. When Venus is your Dharakaraka, your soul specifically chose a partner who would activate beauty, harmony and refined connection within you, someone who act as a genuine muse throughout your entire life. Okay, but the real invitation of this placement is to grow beyond the surface, to let the aesthetic joy and the natural harmony of this relationship becomes a doorway into something much deeper, a love that is not just pleasing to look at or comfortable to be around, but one that genuinely nourishes your soul over the course of a lifetime. If Venus is your Dharakaraka, you have been given a gift of natural grace and beauty within your marriage. What do you do with that gift? Whether you let it stay on the surface or use it as a genuine path towards deeper intimacy and shared purpose is entirely up to the conscious choice you make together. If you want to make free Kundli and birth chart, visit the Cosmic Dharma website. Link will be in the description below. And if you want to book a personal consultation with me, you can DM me on Instagram. Link will be in the description below. If this video helped you, please like it, share it with someone who has Venus as their Dharakaraka, and subscribe to this channel. Hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. Next video, we are going to do Mars as the Dharakaraka, the energetic ancestor archetype. So stay tuned for that one. Until then, look beyond the surface and let the real beauty guide you through the real depth. Jai Shri Ram.